Hello everyone! In this video, we take a closer look at what makes a game or an expansion pack truly successful and what causes it to fall short. At the end of October 2025, the first real expansion for Cities Skylines 2 was finally released, Bridges and Ports. While Paradox presented it as the beginning of a new era for Cities Skylines 2, player feedback suggests something quite different. With an overall rating of 56%, Bridges and Ports barely reaches the mixed category and essentially mirrors the base game's own controversial reception. In this video, I will go through the 7 key reasons behind this outcome. So let's talk about the 7 deadly sins of Bridges and Ports. One of the biggest issues players encountered right after release was the extremely steep learning curve. Bridges and Ports introduces many new systems, but very few of them are intuitive. Basic things like planning oil tanker routes or even locating sailing ships are poorly explained. These systems already exist in the game, but the DLC offers no meaningful introduction. Players are left to figure everything out on their own. This is especially disappointing when compared to Cities Skylines 1. The Airports DLC introduced complex mechanics as well, but Paradox released detailed tutorial videos before launch, guiding players step by step. With Bridges and Ports, we got 2 short promotional videos, not tutorials. As a result, forums quickly filled with questions like, how does this even work? If the goal was to attract new players or bring back old ones, starting with such a difficult expansion was a questionable decision. It often takes hours just to understand the basics of the new system. Bridge construction is supposed to be the highlight of this DLC, but instead it's one of its most frustrating elements. While CS2 finally fixes the old CS1 issue of ships clipping through bridges, the solution often forces bridges to be built incredibly high. Players frequently spend minutes adjusting heights before the game allows construction. Despite having around 20 bridge types, the system strongly pushes players toward openable and movable bridges, even in places where a simple suspension bridge would make far more sense. Waterways are split into boatways and seaways, but bridge construction only works reliably over the smallest routes. If a waterway runs even slightly at an angle, bridge placement can become impossible. There is also no automatic minimum navigation height setting, a simple feature that would dramatically improve usability. And finally, modularity is missing entirely. Bridges are strictly predefined. Road only, rail only, tram only, or metro only bridges. There are some combinations, but only a few of them are found in the game, and you can only choose from the pre-built bridges. You cannot combine them freely without mods. Ironically, once a bridge is finally built, it often looks fantastic. Visually, bridges are one of the strongest parts of the DLC, but the process of getting there is unnecessarily restrictive. Bridges and Ports adds many features at once, but most of them feel unfinished. The ferry system is unreliable, inefficient, and strangely limited. Ferries can't even transport cars. Why this could already be done in the SimCity 4 Rush Hour expansion released in 2003. Sailing ships and small boats exist mostly as decorative elements. They are difficult to find, offer little gameplay value, and have very limited variety without mods. Industrial ports feel inconsistent. Loading times vary widely. Ship arrivals aren't clearly tied to the city's economy and connections are poorly explained. This system alone could have justified its own DLC. Instead, it feels like a prototype. Decorative elements look great but often lack functionality. Even by mid-2025, proper stairs and pedestrian overpasses are still missing. Features that are already standard in games like Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. And most importantly, the game doesn't communicate with the player. There are very few tooltips, almost no visual feedback, and little explanation why something doesn't work. Originally, Bridges and Ports was planned for late 2023, just months after the base game launched. In hindsight, that plan was completely unrealistic. The base game itself was unfinished and the DLC ended up being delayed multiple times, often announced only weeks before the intended release. This constant uncertainty strongly suggests deeper development issues. After nearly 2 years of delays, players reasonably expected a mature, polished expansion. Instead, what we got feels roughly 60% complete game. Many hoped this DLC would save City Skylines 2, but in reality, the biggest improvements came from free regional content creator packs, not from this paid expansion. Bridges and Ports cost €20, the price of a full indie game. Compared to CS1 DLC pricing, usually €10 to €12, this is a significant jump. And judging by reception, it simply isn't justified. The DLC currently has an overall rating of 55%, which put it in the mixed category. The latest ratings, however, give the expansion only 28% rating, which is in the mostly negative category. All of this shows that cheaper building-focused content is far more popular than Bridges and Ports, which target a much more niche audience with its complex mechanics. Bridges and Ports doesn't know what it wants to be. Is it about ports, bridges, waterfront decoration, theme parks, transportation? The answer is all of them at once, and that's exactly the problem. Cargo and passenger ports aren't clearly separated. Attractions feel misplaced and the waterfront system don't integrate reliably. Unfortunately, instead of a clear concept, we get a collection of loosely connected ideas. And finally, the biggest issue, Bridges and Ports doesn't focus on what most players actually wanted. City Skylines 1 truly took off with mass transit DLC, expanding public transport and core city systems. In City Skylines 2, players still ask for deeper transport systems, better zoning and districts, improved train stations, as well as more meaningful public spaces. Let's be honest, ports and shipping are not among the top priorities for most city builder players. They are far more interested in fixed-track transportations like trams and subways, and the DLC built around those systems would have made much more sense as a starting point. Overall, Bridges and Ports isn't a bad idea, it's just the wrong idea at the wrong time. Bridges and Ports is ambitious but unfinished. It contains good ideas but lacks focus, polish and clear priorities. After 2 years of delays, players expected something more decisive, something that truly pushed the game forward. Instead, we got an expansion that highlights how much work still remains. If you enjoyed this analysis and want more in-depth city building content, don't forget to subscribe. And let me know in the comments what you think about the DLC. For a deeper, hands-on look at how Bridges and Ports works, I have made a detailed video series on my Hungarian channel with English and Spanish subtitles. Until next time, happy city building!